What we do here is go back.
What's up guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the first part of this playtest review of the Adidas Nemeziz 17.1. If you enjoyed it, be sure to support it with a like, and if you're new to my channel, you're watching one of my videos for the first time, if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe. I do reviews on all the latest boots. So what I want to cover in this review is not so much tech specs and specific details in regards to the construction of the boot. That's something that I would normally cover in my regular review videos, and they are details that are important if you are considering these. So if you want to learn more about them, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen to my standard review of the Nemeziz 17.1. But in this video, this review, I really want to focus on what the feel and experience is like to wear the Nemeziz 17.1, because ultimately, I think that is the most important thing to consider when getting a brand new pair of shoes. It's all about personal preference, and I'm going to let you know what it's like to wear these. To start things off, let's talk about the overall comfort and break-in process with this particular shoe, because I found that to be pretty interesting. The upper as a whole is really soft, really comfortable. A lot of people wanted to compare this to the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 3 and the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11, and quite honestly, this is unlike any of those models, or really anything from Nike available at the moment. I would compare this probably more closely to something like an X16 Plus Pure Chaos. That's really what it reminded me of in regards to feel and general comfort out of the box. The upper is soft. It's made up of the Agility Knit 2.0 at the toe and the Agility bandages for the rest of the upper. Now, the Agility bandage concept is definitely an interesting idea in that you basically have the upper made up of these thin tensor bandages that are stripped across the upper and then sewn together to create one piece. And that would give you the idea that the shoe would have this kind of stretchy compression type fit around your foot, and that's really not the feel or sensation that you get from this particular shoe. There's a padded liner on the inside, so you don't feel the individual bands by any means at all. It just feels like a soft surround for your foot that's comfortable and very flexible. So there's not too much to break in, and in terms of how unique the shoe actually feels on your foot, it's nothing abnormal whatsoever, which is not a bad thing at all. It's just soft, comfortable, and pretty much good to go right out of the box, which is definitely a good thing. One little issue that I had in regards to the break-in process is at the very back of the heel. Obviously, this is kind of a low-cut shoe. I would consider it to be low-cut. People had their concerns about this V-cut at the heel, at the side of the ankle, sorry, and it's something that you honestly do not notice at all when you're wearing them. They feel like standard low-cut shoes. They give you this little extension piece at the front, which does bunch up a little bit depending on how it sits on your foot/shin area. That's a little bit annoying just from a visual standpoint, but you don't really feel it when you're actually wearing the shoes. But at the very back of the heel, it is extended a little bit higher than normal, and there's also a little bit of a hard spot with some nylon stitching running through the very top here at the very middle. And that is an area where I did have a little bit of issues with chafing and just a slight amount of rubbing that did cause discomfort after about an hour and a half of wear. Is this something that you would get used to and would go away after a few wears? Absolutely, it's not really a big deal. But in terms of break-in, it's really the only issue that I suffered with this particular shoe. So overall, out of the box, really comfortable, very little to break in, and the upper as a whole just feels soft and flexible on your foot. In regards to fit, the Nemeziz 17.1 fits quite well. It's reminiscent to other Adidas products in that it is made technically not on a sprint frame, it's on a torsion frame, but it's the same general shape that you'll find across the entire Adidas brand. So it's gonna be suitable for most foot types. They're not excessively wide, they're not excessively narrow. So as long as you aren't kind of in one extreme, be it wide or narrow feet, you shouldn't have too many issues fitting into this shoe comfortably. It's not gonna stretch all that much though, so keep that in mind. And of course, this being the 17.1 and not the 17 plus, you do get a lacing system, which does allow for really good adjustability in terms of giving the shoe a little bit of a tighter fit or a slightly wider fit, or just being able to customize the tightness of the upper in general, and the general lockdown that you're gonna get through the midfoot and forefoot area of the shoe. When you tie the laces tight, the shoe feels relatively secure. Is it the most locked down, responsive upper that you can get? No, not necessarily. I think the Pure Chaos as a whole is a slightly more responsive feeling shoe. There is some movement in the upper, there is some rollover to a certain extent, but not to the point where I would say it's detrimental to the shoe. The upper, like I said, just has a soft, slightly padded feel in general, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And in regards to sizing, I wore my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length was pretty much perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. In regards to touch on the ball, I really like how this shoe feels in general. I think a lot of people are under the impression that this is now the thinnest synthetic shoe on offer from Adidas, kind of like the Messi line was, but that's not actually the case. The thinnest point on this upper is going to be the Agility Knit 2.0 at the toe through the forefoot area, and that is a legitimately thin material that you definitely do notice mainly when you're dribbling the ball. But the agility bandage section, which is the majority of the upper, including the forefoot as well as the midfoot, has that padded lining material, and the actual bandages themselves aren't necessarily all that thin either, and because of the material they're made out of, they do have a soft padded sensation overall. So if you're comparing this to other boots from the Adidas line, I actually think this is the most padded synthetic shoe that they have on offer, more so than you'll get from the A17.1 Prime Knit or A17 Plus Pure Control, or any of the X16 models either. So if you're looking for that super thin barefoot sensation, you're getting some thinness to the upper, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a barefoot sensation because of the padded liner on the inside and the overall padded feel that you get. With that padded sensation, feel in general is still very, very good. I never felt like I couldn't feel the ball, which was kind of my main complaint with the original variation of Agility Knit. I just wasn't crazy about how that felt in regards to actual touch and sensation on the ball. That was not an issue here whatsoever. The one-piece design is nice and seamless as well. You have no overlapping material, so you get a very consistent touch in terms of what part of your foot makes contact with the ball, which is always very, very nice. The finish on the surface, I would say, is left fairly slick. If you're looking for a lot of grip on the ball, you're not necessarily going to get it here. And of course, it does have the non-stop grip dots as your wet control element. But as with most wet control elements, I really don't feel like it's a major feature at all. And it's just something that's there as a feature on the top end model, but I really wouldn't buy into the importance of that particular feature. As a whole though, I really like how these feel on the ball. They're thin, they're padded, and it's kind of a unique sensation overall. A little bit different from what you're gonna get from pretty much any other brand, but if I had to compare it closely to something, it does remind me a lot of the X16 Plus Pure Chaos. When it comes to the sole plate and stud pattern, this technically does not use a sprint frame construction. It uses what's called a torsion plate, which is designed to be as flexible as possible and really move with the natural bend of your foot when either moving more slowly or making quick changes of direction. And overall, it feels very flexible. It moves very naturally with the super soft upper, so no complaints there whatsoever. I really like the sole plate. And as far as the stud pattern is concerned, it is an FG AG stud pattern, and it's the same general layout you'll find across the entire Adidas brand. But I will say this, the half circle shaped studs that they've implemented here do feel more unique than pretty much any other Adidas layout that I've worn in the last couple of years. This feels a little bit more aggressive than something that you'll get from the X line or from the Ace line, in my opinion. The studs also feel like they're ever so slightly taller, which I think does potentially add to the more aggressive feel that this stud pattern has. Is it the most aggressive thing in the world? No, not necessarily. I wouldn't put it on the same level as a pair of Nike Mercurials, but it's a nice blend of getting a good amount of bite and still having that freedom to twist and pivot. They don't feel clingy on artificial grass, which is really, really important. And of course it is FGAG, so if you do play on natural and artificial playing surfaces and you only want to buy one pair of boots, you can get away with it here on the Nemeziz 17.1 and pretty much any boot within the Adidas brand right now, as they are all pretty much FGAG. And really the only other thing to talk about here is the weight of the boot, which in a size 9 US, these guys weigh in at around 7.5 ounces. So they're not super, super light. They're definitely not heavy either. And overall, I don't mind the weight range that they fall into. It's a nice, comfortable, solid feeling shoe, very flexible, soft upper, really good traction, not the most responsive thing in the world, but I think as an entire package, I'm really, really happy with these, and it is one of my new personal favorites from the Adidas brand. Alright guys, so that is it for my playtest review of the Adidas Nemeziz 17.1. If you enjoyed it, found the review helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Again, subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. If you have any questions regarding the Nemeziz 17.1, leave them down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. All of my social media information is linked down below in the description, so if you want to follow me there, go ahead and check that out. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.